As members of the Global Farmer Network,
we believe agriculture is part of the solution,
not part of the problem.
We are committed to developing agricultural leaders
and sharing their stories across the globe.
We have one purpose:
to amplify the farmer's voice.
My voice.
Mi voz. La mia voce.
My voice.
Welcome to Global Farmer Voices, a podcast by the Global Farmer Network where we invite farmers from around the world to share their stories and perspectives. Hello, I'm Delaney Howell, host of this podcast series, and we're thrilled to continue the celebration of our 25th anniversary, a milestone year for the Global Farmer Network. Each month, we plan to continue highlighting some great themes, showcasing how our members have shown up over the last 25 years. This month, we're celebrating 25 years of biodiversity, highlighting the many initiatives aimed at strengthening and enhancing our planet. To share more about this space, we're showcasing Sarah Singla, a Global Farmer Network member, regenerative farmer, and agronomic engineer from southern France. Farming on land that has been in her family since the 16th century, Sarah runs a diversified farm. As a farmer, she believes in implementing no-till practices, incorporating biodiversity, and focusing on soil health. We'll learn more from Sarah about what those practices are to her and what they mean to her farm later on in the episode. From working with local beekeepers to co-creating a global farmer-led regenerative agriculture declaration, Sarah offers insights into building a resilient, productive, and meaningful future for farming. Let's get to know Sarah first and hear more about her background, as she explains how her agronomic role supports her work and her focus on regenerative farming.
I am a farmer in the south of France. I have 100 hectares, which means 250 acres. I grow triticale, oats, barley, buckwheat, cocksfoot, veg, and I have also meadows for animals. And my farm is in regenerative agriculture since 1980.
In addition to being a farmer, Sarah is also an agronomic engineer, a role that combines agricultural science and innovation to optimize crop production, soil health, and livestock care. Her training enables her to apply scientific principles directly on the farm to improve sustainability, efficiency, and long-term productivity.
So it means that we are going to get the best of the fields and of animals in order to produce more with less. To be an agronomic engineer means it's the science in agriculture. Because you know how to grow crops, how to raise animals. So it's we have a lot of scientific background in order to improve everything that's what we do in the field.
But Sarah's story isn't just about the crops she grows. It's about the legacy she carries forward on a farm that's been in her family since the 16th century. For over 4 centuries now, this land has been more than a livelihood. It's been a way of life. Today, Sarah builds on that heritage, combining long-standing practices with modern technology to farm smarter, more sustainably, and with an eye on the future. A common mantra for many GFN members like Sarah is doing more with less. And for Sarah, this mantra carries with her because farming isn't just a job, it's a responsibility, a passion, and a promise to keep the land thriving for the next generation.
I took over my family farm in 2010, since the 16th century, so it's a long story. When we are farmer, it's a way of life. It means that we can make a living with a job being outside. We can live with nature. You can see everything from the seeding to the harvest, and also you know that what you're going to produce will feed people. So it makes sense to be a farmer.
Sarah's perspective on farming and being a good steward of the land was shaped by her early years, where her father, a pioneer of no-till practices in their region, showed true commitment to soil health and long-term sustainability. He showed her that true innovation often means working with nature, not against it. That lesson continues to guide her as she blends modern technology with regenerative agriculture practices, carrying her family's legacy of forward-thinking stewardship along with her.
So it was my father who started to be in no-till in 1980 for 2 reasons. The main reasons were that he wanted to decrease the cost of production. because here you just have to seed and it's finished. And the second reason was to stop erosion, because as I have many slopes on the farm, and if we were in the tillage practice, it means that we would have a lot of erosion in the soil. So we wanted to stop erosion and decrease the cost of production. To me, it's something logical just because we are going to produce more with less, and we mimic nature and we restore the soil fertility. Because as we often say, we don't inherit the land from our parents, we just borrow it from our children, which means that we have to restore the soil fertility in order to let a better soil for the next generation.
For Sarah, the question, can sustainability be profitable, isn't just theoretical, it's central to how she operates. Growing up watching her father implement no-till farming long before it was widely accepted, she saw firsthand how conservation and profitability weren't mutually exclusive. It's about striking a careful balance between economic viability, environmental responsibility, and social impact. Every decision she makes in the field is rooted in that balance. Using practices that protect soil and water, investing in the local community, and running a business that can support itself long-term. It's a holistic view of agriculture, one where sustainability guides every decision.
It's also something where we make money. So it means that we can both have economics aspect and ecological aspect. Whereas often people oppose ecology and economy, and here we can show to people that we can do both of them. Economics, it means that we are going to produce more with less, so less inputs, or we are going to optimize the inputs. On the social aspect, it means that I love what I'm doing, and I see many farmers all around the world who love being farmers and in no-till system, which means that we can give the farm to someone else and to the next generation. And on the environmental aspect, we have more biodiversity on the farm because we can produce 2 crops in 1 year. So the soil is never naked, is always covered by living plants, and we have many bees and so on the farm. I work with 2 beekeepers, and at the moment I have 60 hives on the farm. So it means that we can have biodiversity and agriculture and farming.
Sarah embraces a variety of regenerative agriculture practices that work together to rebuild soil health and boost biodiversity. By combining these methods, she not only improves the resilience on her farm, but also supports the local ecosystem, including thriving bee populations. Her approach shows how regenerative techniques can create a more sustainable and profitable farm.
So what I do on the farm is I right after the harvest, I'm going to seed a new crop that we call a cover crop or service crop. This crop will grow during 2 or 3 months' time. It will help to recycle the nutrients. In this service crop, they can be, for example, sunflowers, and the sunflowers will be here to feed the bees. So I will produce 2 crops on 1 year in 1 hectare, which means also that we can produce wheat to do flour, to do bread, and right after we can produce another crop that can be used to as a fuel for the cow. So it means we can be fed and we can drive. The other thing that I do is that I do mob grazing, which means that instead of having 1 cow on 1 hectare during 365 days, I will put 365 cows on 1 hectare during 1 day. So by doing that, we are just mimicking nature, because nature, if you look at buffaloes, it's a lot of animal, a big herd in a small plot, which stays maybe 1 or 2 days, and it moves every day. But they never go back to on the grass. They just grazed. So we are going to do that in the field. What I also do is agroforestry. So it means I use the trees in order to make some shade for animals, and the trees will also help me to produce fire in the winter in the chimney, it will bring biodiversity because you will have some nests for birds. So it's a big environment. And I work with 2 beekeepers. I work with a miller who do flour from my grain. So it means to me, it's also a social aspect. It's not only one farmer, it's one farmer and the community. It's many people living in the same place.
Biodiversity may seem like a buzzword to many, But to Sarah, there is a lot of intention behind this term. It isn't just a concept, it's a daily practice. By encouraging a rich mix of plants, insects, and soil life on her farm, she's helping the land stay resilient and productive. It's about working with nature, not against it, and preserving the health of her fields for generations to come.
To me, biodiversity means to have many species on the farm, from plants to animals like cows, chicken, whatever you want, but also bees, insects, all that nature has built for us. Biodiversity, it's also the water, the trees, the clouds, everything. It's the environment. Producing more with less. Because if, for example, if I can produce 8 tons of wheat on 1 hectare instead of producing only 4 tons, it's better to produce 8 tons on 1 hectare rather than to produce 4 tons on 2 hectares. By doing that, we are going to let some natural fields for animals and for biodiversity. So we are going to do ecological intensification.
Sarah's deep commitment to sustainable farming didn't stop at just her own fields. As she continued to apply regenerative practices, she also became a vocal advocate for change. Her drive to share knowledge, collaborate with other farmers, and push the industry forward led her to take part in the Global Farmer Network's Regenerative Agriculture, a Farmer's Declaration campaign. Over the course of 3 days, 8 farmers, vastly different from one another from 8 different countries, came together to collaborate and create a Farmer's Declaration for Regenerative Agriculture. For Sarah, signing this declaration wasn't just symbolic. It was a reflection of the belief that farmers can lead the way in creating a more resilient and responsible food system.
It was very interesting because what we saw is that we were coming from all around the world. There was someone from India, someone else from Kenya, someone from the Netherlands, Denmark, USA, Argentina, Brazil, and France. And all of us wanted the same thing. What we want is to make a living with our farm. We also want science, innovation in the farm. We don't want just to say we are going to let nature does what she wants. We want to improve the soil. And we are very happy in what we are doing. The guy from India showed that in India, when they find indicators in order to see if it works or not, they take the happiness index, which means that once the people came to regenerative agriculture, they are happier compared to people who are still in tillage and so on. So it makes sense, and it's what people want. Clean water, they want more biodiversity, they want cheap food, they want to be happy in life. And with these practices, we can do both of them, all of them. If there is no soil, there is no agriculture, no civilization. Even Roosevelt, the American president, said, each time a nation destroys its soil, it destroys itself. So it means we must take care of the soil, because when you have good soil, then you have good food, good fuel, good fiber, good forest, good everything, and you can stay in your country. You don't have to move. Whereas if you look at history, if you look at Iran, Iraq, Syria, today it's many deserts, but by the past it was the Mesopotamia, it was the fertile valley. So we have the choice. Either we destroy the soil and then there will be big wars and people will have to move. Either we restore the soil fertility and we will be able to produce for us and for the next generation. And people will stay in their countries, so it will bring the peace all around the world. What we want to know is that it comes from the bottom and not from the top. Until now, sometimes in agriculture, it was a top-down thing. People from the university went to the field to explain to farmers what to do. And today it's the reverse. It's a bottom-up thing, so it comes from the ground, from all around the world. All the farmers want the same thing. And it also shows that it comes from the farmer. And we believe in science innovation. We really want to improve what we are doing. They just want to sing it. They think it's logical, and everybody should do that.
When we think of terms like biodiversity and regenerative agriculture, it was interesting to learn more from Sarah about how she views these two concepts intersecting. And in fact, biodiversity from her perspective plays just a small part in the overall regenerative movement.
To me, biodiversity is in regenerative agriculture. When we regenerate the soil, we also regenerate all the biodiversity which is in the soil. We regenerate farmers, we regenerate water, everything. So everything is linked. And biodiversity is just a part of the farm. They are switching from the old practices to regenerative agriculture, and maybe for biodiversity, but also because of the climate, because of climate change. By the past, we had 4 seasons. We had spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And today we have the dry season and the rainy season. And what we see is that by switching to regenerative agriculture, we can have a mitigation on the climate change, on the fact that we are going to come back to the 4 season. And with the biodiversity, we see that the more biodiversity you have, the less problems you get.
Sarah's advice to farmers interested in regenerative agriculture is simple. Start small, stay curious, and be patient. She believes meaningful change doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't have to. Success in regenerative agriculture isn't about being perfect. It's about progress, resilience, and finding a system that supports both the land and the livelihood.
My first advice would be to go and see a farmer who does that. Because we can do that all around the world, and don't hesitate to go and meet someone who already does that. Be inspired by him or by her, and then don't do copy and paste, but take some examples and try that on the farm. But don't wait. We don't have the time to wait.
Looking ahead, Sarah recognizes that regenerative agriculture practices are constantly evolving, and she plans to evolve with them. She sees the promise and the potential of combining low-tech, hands-on practices with high-tech innovations. It's this balance that fuels her excitement for what's ahead.
On my farm, I also try digital farming, because to me, we need 2 things. We need low-tech and high-tech. Low-tech will be the knowledge in agronomy, in agriculture, and the high-tech will be all the digital farming. But we need both of them, beginning with the low-tech. Because if we forget the low-tech, if we forget the agronomy, then we will end up with very big mistakes with big precision. So we need both of them.
Leaders like Sarah are a testament to the future of innovation and sustainability in the agricultural industry. From practicing no-till farming since the 1980s to championing soil health and cost-effective production, Sarah has always been a driving force when it comes to pushing the industry forward. As a key contributor to the Global Farmer Network's Regenerative Agriculture Farmers Declaration, she advocates for a bottom-up, science-based approach to farming that balances economic, social, and environmental goals, helping shape a resilient and profitable future for farmers worldwide. Let farmers lead the way and sign the Farmers Declaration on regenerative agriculture. Join farmers like Sarah and let farmers lead the way. We encourage you to sign the Farmers Declaration on regenerative agriculture by visiting the link in our show notes or finding it on the Global Farmer Network website. It's clear that the past 25 years have created a lasting legacy of support, knowledge sharing, and unity within the Global Farmer Network. From the global roundtables that bring farmers together to the practical advice that transcends borders, the organization has made a profound impact, and we can't wait to see what the next 25 years will bring. If you're interested in learning more about the Global Farmer Network's mission and its members, seeing some of the things the organization is doing, and finding out how you can get involved, please visit globalfarmernetwork.org. And if you'd like to support the Global Farmer Network through a donation, you can do so at globalfarmernetwork.org/donate. If you enjoyed the podcast today, be sure to subscribe and follow the Global Farmer Network on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. Until next time, I'm Delaney Howell, and this has been the Global Farmer Voices podcast.